Hello, and welcome to these short introductions to the next three assignments that you'll be doing through the Technology Day. So, the first one is to create a logo and value poster with AI. The next one is to create persona visualizations with AI. And the third one will be to create product visuals with AI. So, who will be creating all of this for? Well, we're going to create all of this for a little small Danish brand called Northerly. Northerly is from Copenhagen. It was created by Mikkel and Sofie. And in here on the mirror board, you'll be able to read the history of Northerly and see how it was created. You'll also be able to see what the brand looks like, described through the brand thinking canvas. So you'll go from the inner circle and out, describing the different elements of the brand. You'll also be able to find on this one, you'll be able to find a description of the brand and its competitors through the model point of parity and point of difference. And you'll also be able to find something about who are the customers of the brand. You'll also be able to find descriptions specifically of the brand, which we'll be using later on. And you'll also be able to find other elements like the description of different products from the brand that we'll be using in this assignment. So overall, you'll be referencing these texts here to find the different keys to what you'll be designing. So the first part is to design a logo and a value poster for the brand. And for this, we'll go into the brand thinking canvas here, and we'll look at the different parts here. So one of the things that we need to look at is the different values. For instance, it's talking about sustainability, transparency, quality, connection to nature. So these are the four main values of the brand, and we would like these to be expressed in a visual way so that both customers and collaborators can see what the brand is all about. We would also like to create a logo for the brand so they have a visual element that will go through all of their communication. And to do this, we'll be using AI to help do this as a mock-up and to suggest different versions. As you'll see when you've completed the assignments, you'll actually have somewhere between 10 and 15 different examples from the same starting point within a very short time. And that can help us start up the creative process of designing all of these different elements for real. So looking at the logo, we will look down into the visual identity. It says that the logo should be minimalist with a design that may incorporate natural symbols such as leaves, mountains, or windswept lines, clean modern typography with organic curves. So what I'll just start with cutting this text here, or copying it actually. Copy like this. And then I'm going to go into Illustrator. So the first thing I'm going to dive in is Illustrator. And you've probably not opened Illustrator before, so it might seem a little bit scary, but actually it's kind of, we're just going to dip our toes today and try and find some very easy things to do. The first thing you might do when you go into Illustrator is to open a new file or open a previously worked on file. In this case, we'll be opening a new file. So I'll press here on New File, and immediately I get presented with a number of templates that ask me what to do here. So in this case, I will just go under the print ones, and here you'll find a A4 format. If you can't find it here, go and look into all presets and you should be able to find it here. So under this preset, you'll create a blank document with the size of 210 millimeters width and 297 millimeters wide. So within this document, we don't need to change any of these settings for now. You'll get to know all of these things later on in your technology classes. So I will just open a new document. And in this case, it doesn't really matter the size of the document because we'll be creating these elements as we go along. Now you could create something on this page without doing anything, but actually we would like to create a vector logo within within Illustrator. And to do this, the best way is to start off by creating a square. We'll use the square tool over here in this box here. By the way, if yours doesn't look exactly like mine, you can always go into Window, look under the workspace and check if you've checked Essentials. And if it doesn't look like mine, you can always say Reset Essentials and it will come back so that you can see all of these different things. Again, I'll go over here and I'll pick a square where I'll create a square with my tool. And within this tool, I now have the option, while it's still selected, I get some options over here in the product properties bar. This is a contextual bar, and it means that it will change to whatever you are actually touching here. In this case, because I've chosen a square, I get the option to generate vectors. And I will just press this one here, and in here I can press in any description of whatever I want to make. In this case, I will just paste the description, minimalist, and it should say minimalist logo, with a design that may incorporate natural symbols such as leaves, mountains, and windswept lines. Clean, modern typography. We're just gonna delete the typography here and use these words here as a description. You might change it in different ways, but please try a lot of different versions to get the one that you like the most. I will change this into icon to make sure that I don't get a description of something else. I just want a specific icon. And in this case, I will leave the detail where it is. I could set it lower or higher, and I will do this if I don't find that what I get is the right one. I can also add a style preference. I can add different effects, and I can add something about color and tone. In this case here, I will set the number of colors, for instance, to, let's say, 2. And this is simply just to make sure that it's not being too complicated. And then I'll press generate. And it will generate for me, as long as your computer is online, Illustrator will generate 3 different versions of what it considers to be a logo. You'll see over here that it starts creating these logos here. And whether you think these are the right ones or not, it's really up to you. I think I would like to maybe make it just a little bit more complicated than it was before. So I will just press generate again. And by the way, you can see the 3 different versions here of the logo that it's created. Whether you like the colors or not is really up to you, and up to you to design which one you'll be going with. So I think, well, I don't really think that I see anyone that I like yet. So I might try and go into this settings box here again and say maybe I want auto for colors so it can choose other things. I will also maybe go in and add some effects and say I would like minimalism as a thing here. It probably won't do all that much, but these are just choices that I'm making as a designer to make sure that whatever I generate falls within the parameters of what I would like to create. So I'm not actually going to go that much into detail, but I think that I would like to continue with, yeah, I think I want to continue with this one here. And in this case here, I will just take my logo. And what I'll do here is I'll actually just clean it up a little bit. I don't think I like this very much. I'll just say generate, say cancel here again. What I want is I want a black and white logo actually, because I want to have a logo that I can use for many different things. And so in this case here, I will just choose color, black and white, and just press generate again. I keep the settings from before with the minimalist logo with a design that may incorporate and so forth. It will just keep the same design elements hopefully. And it ends up creating something like this. And let's just say that I find that this logo, it should actually, what I would like to do is I would like to change this again and maybe add something natural and urban elements and symbols generate. So because I don't think I really like the mountains that much, but I'll just check and see here. Actually, you can see that now we've generated a number of different versions, and in this case I will just, because this is just really a quick video, I think I like this one. Maybe this one? No, I think I like this one actually. And now this one is going to be my logo. I'm going to take this logo here, and because it is still a generated logo, it has these stars up here, which means that I can always go back and look at them. But I'm just going to take a copy by holding down Option key, moving it. As you can see here, when I press this one, it will show the Option key, and then I will ungroup this. Now I have a logo here, and this logo contains some different elements. I'm just going to go in here and check to see, and actually it has only, I'll just press ungroup again, and you'll see that I don't have any white elements or anything like that. I actually only have the black elements. I can also check this by just moving my logo over here and check and see there is no elements other than this. So I think this is pretty good. I also want to have a name, and I will just say Northerly. And now I need to choose a font that really matches this brand. You can choose whatever you want, but it says in the brief that it should be a simple font. So I will just try and pick one here from my huge font library. If you don't find a font here you like, you can always try and find it somewhere else, but I think I will choose the Arial here, and I will choose this one here. What I don't like that much is actually the big N here, so I will change this to a small type, and this is going to be my brand name. I also think that I'm just going to check this one here. You'll see that this one has a stroke, and I will just actually add a little bit to this stroke so that it kind of matches the wording here. You can see the line width and this one is matching a little bit better. And I think this is actually going to be my brand. Of course, we could go in and do a lot more. Maybe this one? No, I think it should be this one here. So it says Northerly, like this. And this is now going to be my brand logo here. I'm also going to create a value poster, and for this I would like to create a word that we can use as a one of the words that we'll use in our thing here. So what I'll do is I'll just go back into my description and find the word that I think is the one that we should use. So one of the words is nature, and I think that one is really good. So I will actually just type this out, nature. And so in this case here, I'll show you in a little while that we'll use this to create something that really looks really cool. In this case here, I would like it to be a little bit more bold. So I will just add a little bit of line weights here with a stroke. And now I have this sort of a little bit more bold nature word here that I can use for my poster. But I would like it to be perhaps a little bit more three-dimensional. And for this, I can add an effect. And I will use this 3D and materials. I'll use this one that is called extrude and bevel, like this one. And immediately it becomes clear that something is not working exactly like it should, because everything is black here. So what I'll do very quickly is I'll just go over here and I will choose a different color for this one here. So this one is a lighter color. Actually, I'm just choosing a, that's not exactly what I want to do. I want to choose a lighter color here. So I will set this one here, the K value, to 30%. And I will do the same for my outline here. Hopefully I can find something like this. And I actually think this looks pretty well. What I would like to do, however, is I would like to add a little bit of taper to it. Just to add sort of that it looks a little bit like there is some kind of perspective to it. So this is actually pretty good. If I zoom in here, you'll see that since my words and my outline are the two different colors, it will look a little bit like this with a little bit of an outline, but that's actually fine. So what I'll do now is I will just make a screen grab of this. I could export this as a picture, but in this case here, I think I'll actually just take a screen grab. On a Mac, you can press Shift Command 4, and it will give you these cursors here that you can then drag over whatever word you have, like nature. And now I've created a picture of this word here, and I'm going to use that to create a poster with. So the next thing I want to do before I do anything else is I want to create my layout. And for this, I'll go into Photoshop, and in here I will create a poster, and I will just similar to what I did in Illustrator, I will start by creating a new document, and I'll just say new file. I will also here choose under print, I will choose the A4 format. I will make sure that the orientation is upright like this, and now I'll press create. So I now have a document here that is A4 format, and this document I will use as my layout. So first of all, I want to place my logo, and I want to place the word from before. And in this case, I'll just place them as placeholders, and I'll do something with them later on. So my poster is actually going to contain, I'm just going to put these in here. I will put in the, let's see here. I'll actually just go back to Illustrator quickly, like this. And I will take all of this and I will press Command C. So now I've made a copy of my logo and my text here, and I just gonna go into Photoshop and say Command V. And when I do this Command V, it will say paste, and it will give me the options of how I want to paste it into a Photoshop document. It's actually going to create another layer over here in my layers menu on top of the background with this. And I can choose different types of layers. In this case, I will choose a smart object. When you get to technology, you'll get to know what that exactly means. But in this case, just know that this means basically I can go back and correct it if I want to. So I will just press OK here. And now I have my logo. And by the way, in Photoshop, if you start dragging in the corner, you might actually end up stretching your logo. It's not a good practice to stretch logos, so I'll hold Shift when I scale, and it will scale the logo proportionally. I will just put this here, and then I'll put in the word that I want to put in. I will just say place embedded, and since I put this on my desktop earlier when I took the screenshot, it should be in here. Let's see. This one, nature here. So I will just take this picture here and place it like this. So what I want to create is I want to create an image that sort of says something about nature, and I want this word to be part of that poster. And I want this to be a prominent piece up here so I can see that it's actually coming from this brand here. So what I'll do is I will go into a web page and I'll go online. And what you'll see here is if I go into this and I type in Adobe Firefly, Adobe Firefly is Adobe's online version of their AI. And if I press on this one, I will get this option here where I can create new images. You should be logged in here, and you should see this icon here that matches the one you have inside your Adobe account up here in your Creative Cloud account, because this is where you'll see that you are actually the one that's logged in here. I will just type in a prompt here. In this case here, what I want to do is I want to create two different images. The first one is an image that simply describes what this should look like. So I think that my nature here should look like a so this is going to be worn wood planks wrapped in cotton fabric and string. And this is just a suggestion. You might put in something else here, but this is what I'm going to use. So I generate these pictures here, and the reason I do this, and actually I don't really like any of these, I'm just going to generate some again. In this case here, I could change this to landscape, and hopefully so this is not actually exactly what I want, but I think I'll try and see what happens if I use, for instance, this one here. And what I'll do is, because when you generate, you can see this is what it looks like when you generate images inside Firefly. And what you first of all should notice is the model that you're doing this with. This should say Firefly Image 3. If it doesn't, if it say Firefly Image 2, it's a an earlier version of their AI, and it's not quite as good. Also, I want to look into the aspect ratio. And in this case, I want to go with a widescreen because that's going to match my text that I'm going to put in a while. So this is going to be indicators of what style I want. So if I press one of these, actually what I could do here is I could say, I could do this again, and I could say hyper realistic. I will just generate this again and see what it does. Okay, so maybe this is, I don't know whether I think this is better or not, but I think I will just generate again to see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't know if I like this too much, but we'll work with this one here and say this is what we're going to be going for. This look here of, actually what I want to do is I'm going to say on a white background. So this will sort of make them look a little bit more like this. And actually this is closer to what I was hoping to get here. And I think this one here, maybe this one here might be the one I want to use. So what I can do now is I can go under the edit tab here, and I can say this one I would like to use as a style reference. So a composition reference and a style reference is two different things. So over here you'll find the style reference and you'll find the composition reference. The composition is referencing what it is the thing should look like, sort of the shape of the thing. And the style is what should it look like sort of stylistically. So what I'll try and do here is I will, under the composition, I will upload an image, and I will upload this one here, my nature word here. I will upload this. And then under my style reference, I will use this one here, and I can do that by going up under edit and say use as composition reference. No, sorry, style reference, this one. And now I will just see what this looks like. So basically what I've done is I've asked it to create the word nature, but have it look like a plank that's wrapped in wood. And this is what I get. Um, you could argue that this works really well, but it does tend to crop off some of the image. And so you'll note also that when you do this, if I go in here under the strength of this one and put it down and generate again, it won't take as much heat to this one, and it will make it look more like blocks, for instance. Whereas if I go like this, press it up so that it's going to be very heavy and press generate, it's going to look a little bit more like this. So now it's looking even more like those words. But I actually like sort of like in the middle here, so I'll just generate again. By the way, you can also note that when you do this, every time you generate a new image, this image is generated and you won't save the previous ones unless you download them, at least not in this version of an AI. So I like maybe this one here actually. I will just press upscale to make it bigger. You'll see that it's trying to generate this image in a higher resolution. And now I can download this picture here. I could also add text here. I'm not going to do that. But I have downloaded the images in this now in my downloads folder. And so I'll go back into my Photoshop here and I'll just for a moment click these two layers off here and have my white background. And now I want to place embedded. And here I would like to place from my transfer first. I should be able to find this one here. And so this one actually looks pretty good, but the thing is, if I look at this, it's kind of cropped off somehow. So what I'll do is I'll just make it a little bit smaller, like this, and hopefully this is going to be exactly what it should be looking like. So what I can do now is I can place it where I want it to be, like here, for instance. And now I can take because there's many different ways of doing this, but one of the ways of doing this is to say, I take my selection tool here and I will just say, actually, I would like to fill out this whole part here. So I'm going to sort of make it just grab a little bit over this edge here of the image, because in a moment I will use generative fill to finish this image here, and I'll do the same all the way around. You'll see that every time I select something, I just go a little bit over the edge here, and now I will just press generative fill. I won't even add anything to it because I will, instead of writing a prompt, I've actually overlapped my selection with this image, and it will try to generate some sort of content that matches this image here. And I'll just press generate. And so you can see it actually generates what I think is a really cool image. There is also something here that has sort of wood scraps. I'm not sure I really like that one. There is one that is more white, if I like that one. I think I actually like this one better. And then I'm going to turn on my logo here. And now you can see that even though it was sort of a black before and it looks okay, what I want to do is I want to create this. I'm just going to actually press on this button. If I double click on a layer next to the word here, rather than on the word and layer menu, I get some layer options, and I'll just double click here. And instead of just looking at this particular layer here, I would like it to be white. So I can press on some of these effects over here. I will use the color overlay. And apart from just checking it on here, I can also go into the settings and see what is actually happening. So it's using a color lay function. It's kind of putting a layer over whatever it is I have here. It's adding a certain color, and it's also using a blend mode. And the blend mode will blend this color with the color underneath, which is right now black. So in this case, I will just change the color of this, and maybe I will say white. I don't think that actually works very well. Maybe I should choose a darker color. And I think I'll choose something like this. And in this case here, I'm not actually sure again that I really like the way that this looks, so I'll just change to the white background here. And actually, I think this works really well. By the way, make sure you don't move around on the layers here, because then you'll mess up everything. But if I click on this one, and if I press Command T, I can change the size of this logo and make it like really big, like this. And so this is what you need to create a poster that illustrates one of the value propositions of the brand and also illustrates the logo with a certain type of font. Thank you very much.